Welcome to another episode of the Oldtimer Synthesizer Podcast. I'm your host, Brent, and today I'm going to do another song for you. This is a song that I'm working on. I'm going to play the song and then I'll kind of break it down into the different parts and just kind of share what I'm doing with it. And it's kind of I took a song. Well, I've been running sound at our church here lately, and we got a digital board. It's very flexible, can do all kinds of stuff, and I can plug in my computer to it via USB, and I can record all of the different channels on the board to my computer. So I load up Studio One and assign all the channels to different tracks, and I'm able to get a full recording of the entire band. And then I can take the recording home, I can remix it, and I can kind of give it some studio polish, and then take that recording and sync it up with the live stream video and kind of kind of do a replacement of because usually live stream mixes are always not that good. And since I do sound now, you would think, well, I would I would be really focused on that, and I have been, but I've learned that you can't do both a good live mix and a live stream mix at the same time. You really need to have somebody in a separate room listening to it separately and mixing it separately. You can try to make adjustments, but really you're kind of flying blind when you do a live stream mix. So usually the live stream mixes aren't as good. And so being able to, do a remix of the songs and sync it back up to the live stream video and then have that posted as a video on the church page is kind of a nice thing for people to be able to watch. But in this particular case, I did the recording, and they had recorded, or they played the song to a click track, which was good, because it made it easy for me to sync everything up here. Because what I did is I realized, okay, yeah, the vocal track is pretty good. It's actually really good. But the band just wasn't quite as on with the song in this particular case, and so I thought, well, maybe I'll just replace a few things. The next thing I know, I kind of went nuts and replaced everything except for the vocals and an acoustic guitar track, which I then ran it through some virtual amps and stuff like that to give it more of an electric guitar sound, and also it wasn't quite in time with the music, and acoustic guitars tend to be a little bit more percussive, and by running it through an amp, it kind of softened it up a little, and then you couldn't really notice as much of it not being completely in sync with the click track. And then kept the vocals, which were the lead vocals, which were really good, by our singer Melina, and then also our worship leader Brad. He sings on this as well. So this is me taking a song and completely changing it from a nice little quiet worship song to like an actual synth jam kind of thing, a little old school kind of 80s 90s kind of synth jam kind of thing with the actual vocals over top of it. So the vocals were recorded with something completely different music track wise, but I replaced all of the instruments. So this is what it sounds like as of now, and I'm still working on it, but this is about 6 or 7 hours worth of time working on replacing the backing tracks and doing a rough mix and doing some mastering on it. But this is what I call rough mix 1. Rough mix 2 is in process now, kind of continuing to clean up some of the vocals and doing some other fixes. I wasn't completely 100% happy with all the drums and some other things that I did on there, so doing some changes. But anyway, this is what I had for rough mix 1. All right, so that was the rough mix, and you probably are thinking, hey, there's the vocals kind of got lost at a few spots there, and yeah, I didn't really do anything with the levels there. Like I said, that was just a rough mix. So in future mixes, that'll be fixed with all the leveling and everything else. But anyway, here's the and by the way, if you're listening to this podcast, just know that I'm also doing a video screen cap while I'm recording this, and the video will be up on the YouTube channel for the Worship Blender. So just go to YouTube and do a search on Worship Blender, and you'll be able to find this video so you can actually see everything that's going on my screen as I talk about it. But anyway, I've got the Studio One file open of all the different tracks, and I'm going to kind of run through what I'm doing on the song. It's a pretty straightforward song. There's not really a lot going on. It's just it's very repetitive, but it's a kind of, for me, it was a fun kind of song to do because I like being able to play with different layers and textures and stuff like that with the synth. And so here's the actual vocal by itself that I started off with. Actually, here's the dry vocal. So that's what the vocal sounded like by itself. So you can hear some bleed through. So I go further in the song. So that's what it sounded like. And then I added some effects. First, I like using solid state Logic plugins. I love their stuff. I always have. And so their vocal strip plugin is fantastic, and also their flex verb plugin that you hear here is just wonderful. Bit excessive on the reverb, I admit. I usually don't use that much reverb, that long of a tail on it, but it just seemed to work for this song, and so I did it. And then I also did a lot of melodyning on the melodyning. I don't know if that's an actual word there, but yeah, I used melodyne on the vocals to kind of clean them up. I believe these are the non-melodyne tracks, the original vocal tracks. I had to do melodyne, and I got Studio One 5 open. Now I had to go back and do melodyne in Studio One 4 because for some reason melodyne didn't want to work with the newest version of Studio One 5 for me, so I had to go back to Studio One 4. So anyway, I don't have the melodyne tracks open here. And yes, I know Studio One 6 is out, but yeah, that's extra money, and I didn't really foresee needing it just yet. But anyway, those are the vocal tracks. If you want to see some or hear some of the other tracks here, let's start from the start. And here is turn off the vocal tracks too, so we can just focus on the music. Here is what we start off with my good friend here, the XO drum machine, which I really love. This is by XLN Audio, makes this plugin. It's just a great drum machine. This is pretty much a built-in pattern that they had. I might have did some tweaking on it. I don't know. I don't really remember. But that's the drum machine. Pretty much the beat through the song. Although it changes at various spots. Definitely drop stuff out. Just do the kick. Like here in the first verse. And then also little, stuff there. But as we get to the bridge on the song, I had to keep building it. So here's the bridge. So in order to make it, since the song's so repetitive with the same parts, I wanted to add something extra to the bridge. So I actually added in a second drum machine, or actually Easy Drummer by Tune Track. Did an 80s drum kit, since we're kind of going 80s with this song. So you have the drum kit, and then you have the drum machine. Put them together, kind of adds a nice build during the bridge. So the Easy Drummer only comes in on that bridge section. All right, so let's go back to the beginning again. So we've got the drum machine going along with by XO, and of course we need a bass. So there's our bass synth, our main bass synth. And it's pretty much just an Oberheim Sim by Arturia. And it's pretty much just a factory preset. Apparently I did do some tweaking on it because it's got the little asterisk after the name there indicating I did something. I don't remember what. Now, in order to give it some more girth, I start off with just the bass line by itself, that bass line being the only bass line playing, but as the song goes on, it needs some more girth to it. So I added in a second bass line, which would be this one here, which is just the same notes, but it's like an octave lower, a more fuller sound. It doesn't have the arpeggiator on it. So you mix it with the other one. Helps to give some fullness to the song. Then the main riff really through the whole entire song is this guy right here. Which is just a Hive synthesizer. And it's pretty much factory preset. I just literally came to this factory preset almost immediately. It kind of came up and I was like, oh, that sounds really nice. I was planning on spending more time figuring out what I'm going to use for that initial sound, but this just seemed to work, so I ran with it. Now, just like with the drum beat and the bass line where I add more to the song, more layers as it goes on, I did the same thing. So when the second verse comes in, I actually add in 2 more synth layers playing that exact same keyboard line. Which is basically, solo them out. The first one is another Hive instance doing I think I modified this preset, but it's another preset on Hive. Kind of a weird, wacky, kind of got a little bit of, almost flangey kind of weirdness going on there, but it works well when blended in with the other instruments. The Repro 1. So when you put them all together, add back in the drum beat. And then at the end of the song, I needed to have yet another layer. So I put in another layer. Which would be this one, an actual Jupiter 8 instance. Right there. So there's the Jupiter 8 instance soloed out. Just made for a nice solo synth to kind of fade out on. And the first verse, you start up the song with everything going on, and then you drop it down with just a synth pad with the Repro 5. My computer is, I don't know if you can hear that, my computer's in order to do this podcast and be able to screen cap, I have to go into Windows Audio so that my Camtasia software can record, and so sometimes that causes a lot of issues with the computer. But anyway, it's a Repro 5 that does that first verse. Turn the vocals off again so we can just focus on. There's also another little synth line that pops up here and there, and it's kind of a subliminal kind of synth. It's just kind of like a weird little thing I did. Wasn't sure if I was going to keep it or not, and I'm still not sure if I'll keep it, but it's kind of there in the background as kind of a counterpoint. Which is the Ace synthesizer, which I really like the Ace a lot. I use that a lot on projects. So put in the bass. So that's that kind of is, it's really low in the mix. I don't have it too high up in the mix. I also was playing with some other ideas that are kind of low in the mix. I don't even remember what this is here. So yeah, that's in the bridge. I had something else here, something Hive. A lot of this is pretty low in the mix. It's just on the bridge, just to kind of add some extra layers there. But then before the bridge, there's also I added in a little extra melody line here with a couple of layers of synths, which is just pigments. Here's the first layer. If my plugin will load, so I can show you. And then also a Fairlight CMI is another layer. And then the Selena String Ensemble would be the final layer. So 3 things doing that little melody there, which sounds like this in the whole mix. So anyway, that's pretty much most of the song. I'm still working on it, but just wanted to share it. It was basically been a lot of fun to be able to work with some vocal tracks. I haven't had much vocal tracks to work with lately, so just having that really kind of inspired the rest of the song. I really liked what Melina sang on there, our singer who led that, and so yeah, it was very exciting, the fact that I could actually use a live recorded voice and actually work that into a studio song. So that, of course, that gives me a lot of ideas for other stuff to do, and definitely want to do more of this. So yeah, so look forward to more of those types of songs from me. But anyway, that sharing with you what I've worked on since the last time we talked. And I've got some other stuff that I look forward to sharing with you too. I hope that you will subscribe to this podcast, that you will give it a 5-star review if you enjoyed listening to it. If you didn't enjoy it, then forget what I said about leaving a review. Don't even worry about it. And don't worry unless you want to give a 5-star review, then pretend like I didn't say anything. But definitely any feedback too. I definitely enjoy hearing any feedback that you might have on the podcast. Like I said, it's also being recorded to YouTube, so you can check that out at Worship Blender. And that's, I guess, it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.